Hey everybody, it's Debbie O'Neill of Scrap Me Quick Designs and the Let's Learn Cricut Explore Facebook group. And today I want to share with you a new cartridge that Cricut has come out with called All Occasion Box Cards. The designer is Lori Whitlock. I am so excited to see some designs by Lori with Cricut. I'm so excited that she's working with Cricut now. This cartridge has 30 box cards, and if you don't know what a box card is, you can see them here. They pop up. So it'll fold flat. You'll be able to put it in an envelope. Lori gives us 30 different box card designs, and there's birthdays, holidays, graduations, weddings, thank you, just for you, all different occasions, and they have really cute images. This is just a sampling of what they look like. There's a total of 30, okay? And you can kind of see here, I'm just going through them real quick. They're super cute, and right now, in January, Cricut has marked this for only $19.99 for you to get 30 box cards. I am so stoked about this, guys. But I'm going to show you a couple of things about how to get a discount on if you purchase the physical cartridge in the month of January. You'll have a chance to get 10% off of this $19.99 sale price and free shipping if you buy the physical cartridge. I'll have that information at the end of the video. And if you want the digital version, you're able to purchase that as well. And then it would be in your Design Space account. But what I wanted to show you was right now, because Cricut just released this, if you're looking for the handbook, let's take a look at the handbook. You're going to go down into description here I'm at Cricut.com. Cricut.com in the shop under cartridges. Lori Whitlock is the designer, and this is the first cartridge. Hopefully there'll be more coming. And you'll click description. Underneath description, you'll see it'll kind of explains a little bit about the cartridge, but there is the source for the digital handbook. So let's click digital handbook, and now we'll have the handbook, and I'm going to scroll this so you guys can see it a little bit bigger. Look how cute that the telephone one, that's just like a hello card. I think it's adorable. Anyway, okay, so these are the box cards, all right? And you can see them. They're really cool. And there's also an envelope that gets sized. And what I wanted to talk to you guys about was, okay, there's various layers. Lori has given us not only the shape of the box, but also the lining pieces that go on, and then the decorative elements that fit inside, plus a piece that goes inside the box that holds all this together. All right. Now, here's what stumps people is, how do I size this in Design Space? So if you look at the handbook, the cards that I would consider to be the square box shape, because the box is more squarish, um, is recommended to cut at 5.5 inches. Okay. And then if we go down and we look at one of the boxes, there's two box styles. There's one that's more square, and then there's one that I would consider to be more rectangle shape of the box. The rectangle box says cut those at 3.75. Okay. So, and you'll see here's all the elements. If you continue to scroll down through all the box cards, and I'm not going to slow this down too much, but you can see there's some really cute ones. Happy anniversary, happy day, hello, just because, just for you, miss you, sending love. I mean, there's just so many awesome box cards on this. Anyway, so if you scroll all the way down, here's the envelope. It also, you cut it at 5.5 inches, okay? And then there are directions on how to put this together. So here you'll see that there is the box shape, and then you have your liner pieces, which normally this would be cut out of cardstock or a double-sided paper, and then you would have decorative paper that you would put for this part. You want to use, this piece should also be cut in the matching cardstock to whatever you cut your actually box shape out of. And then there's the embellishments and so forth. So this does kind of explain to you how to put the box together exactly. So that's what that part of the handbook is about. And then this shows you How do you put the envelope together? Super simple. You're going to cut it out, glue the sides, envelope. And then how you actually fold this box card flat so then it goes inside the envelope. So the handbook shows you all of that. However, in Design Space, how in the world do you make that either 5.5 inches or 3.75 inches? That's what I'm going to show you next. Okay, so I'm going into Design Space and I've already logged into my account. I've already purchased the um, all occasion box cards. However, um, if you just want to look at all the images, let's go ahead and show you how do you find them in your Design Space. So instead of all images, I'm going to click cartridges, and then in the search, I'm going to click all occasion. I'm going to enter, not click it, enter all occasion. And you see all occasion box cards, okay? And you can see here I purchased mine, so I'm good. I'm going to go into view all. There's 30 of them. You can go through and look at them. You can click on this little eye here that will pop up and tell you this is a baby box card, this is a baby boy one, this is a baby girl one, blah, blah, blah. It goes through all of them. Okay, so if you're looking for something in particular, like this one's just for a friend, um, so you can click this and it tells you which one it is. All right. Now, there is a wedding one, and I need to make a wedding card today for a wedding I'm going to soon. And so I'm going to pick the wedding one because I think it's super cute. So all you have to do is click on that, insert into Design Space, and it comes up on your mat. Oh my gosh, it's super tiny, right? You don't want to cut it out like this. In Design Space, what we need to do is that this is one of the cards that is what I would consider a square shape. It's not the rectangle shape. So I'm going to show you my trick. I'm going to go into Insert Shapes. I'm going to pick a square, okay? And I'm going to size that square to 5.5 inches. So I'm going to go over to my edit panel and I'm going to go down to height and I'm going to pick 5.5 inches. Now I don't care about the width of this. I just want to make sure that it is 5.5 inches tall. All right. Now I'm going to take this, I'm going to move it over here and I'm just going to expand this. And I'm doing that by just dragging it out. All right. Now, I want to lay this square up here so it is at the top of the peak because your height of your cards will be measured from the highest point down to the base. And I'm going to lay that up to the peaks. Okay, and then I'm going to continue. Let me shrink this down just a little bit. Oops. Okay, now I'm going to continue to drag this until the top of that peak and the bottom matches my box. Okay. Now, the reason why I did this and did not ungroup any of these, and let me move my square out of the way now, is, and I'm going to change this back to 100%. All right, so now it's full screen, regular screen. And now all of my pieces are sized proportionately. My box will be cut that way. My embellishments will be cut proportionately. The inside piece and the envelope will now all be cut perfectly. All right. Now let's go in and I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to pick one of the rectangle cards. So bear with me for a second while we get all occasions up. Here it is. And now I'm going to pick one of the cards that's a rectangle. Let's pick this one. It's super cute. Okay, I'm gonna just scroll down here so we can play with this one. All right, now this is more of a rectangle. In the handbook, it says you need to cut this at 3.75. All right, so let me grab my square. I just added a square. I'm gonna do the same thing, but I'm going to make this square 3.75. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and drag this out. I like to work with this and put it in down here where it has the scale. I'm going to move it down to 75% just because it's a little bit easier to work with it. So I'm going to put my box, my 3.75 high box, doesn't matter if it's a square, okay, at the top of the box card. I've left that all grouped. I didn't change anything. I'm going to grab the little handle and I'm going to pull this down until I get it so that my box card, and you have to play with it a little bit, that my box card matches my square. Okay. And you can see I'm just kind of moving it around till I think I get it so it fits perfectly. Okay, that looks good. So now this shape, and I'll put this back in to 100% mode so we can see. Okay, so this is how you size the rectangle one, the more rectangle one. Okay, same thing. Now the envelope and this should all be the same size. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to show you is I'm going to actually cut out all these pieces and I'm going to put the cards together so that you can see how this actually works in real life.
Hey everybody, it's Debbie and I'm back to show you how to put together the all occasion box cards, and they're all going to go together very similarly. I'm going to show you the pieces and talk about how you would work on putting the basic box together, and then you'll also see me adding the embellishments to this box card. Now I am working on the wedding box card like I mentioned earlier, and you will have cut out your pieces, so you'll have your box shape, you'll have your insert piece here, you'll also have whatever papers you're going to use for the liner pieces. Okay, so these are for the decorative flaps and this is for the back piece, and then you have squares that are going to go on this part of your box. Okay, so you have 3 of those, and then you'll have your embellishment pieces. Okay, and you will need to make sure you have a tape runner or some score pal tape to put your box together and to adhere the pieces of paper. I also am using some foam squares just to add a little bit more dimension to my box. You don't have to do that. And let's see, what else? I am adding some additional words to mine since this is a wedding card. I cut out the word congrats and the word Mr. and Mrs. They're images that are in Design Space, and these are on white glitter paper if you can't see that. And I will use my Zig 2A pen to adhere these, or I could use my Xyron X. So I may use this. And so I just wanted to show you how to put this together. Now, so you understand, this looks small, doesn't it? But when we fold the box up, it is going to be a standard A2 card size. That's what Lori Whitlock has said is how she designed these cards, is so that they are A2 size cards and they will fit in a A2 size envelope, which we will make. So this is the A2 envelope that I will show you how to put together. That is part of the file. Each of the box cards has their own envelope. Okay, so I just wanted to show you as a guideline that this is the size card that we're making. It's an A2 size card, and we'll match this up later so you can see, because when you first cut this out you think, oh, this is kind of small, but it is correct. So let's get started. Alright, so you have your box card shape, and you will have used your score pen, hopefully, your score tool in your Design Space account. It will have popped you up a message to let you know that you need to add the score tool for when you're scoring your box. Alright, and you need to score them all the same direction. So you have a side, okay, these are the base of the box. Alright, and then you have flaps. So there's only 3 flaps. There's 1, 2, and 3 that you're going to fold down. This back panel is not scored, and it becomes the back of the box once we put this together. And basically what we're doing is that we are creating this box shape. Okay, so it's going to look like this when we put it together. So the first thing you want to do, however, is I like to go ahead and add my base pieces to my flaps and around the base of my box, and then adhere the box together. All right, so we're going to do that. The easiest way to do that is I keep my tab over here to the left. I know that these 3 flaps are the ones that I need to adhere these 3 pieces. Okay, and I'm just going to use my tape runner. Let me move this up in camera for you guys. This is super easy. I'm just going to add some adhesive and line these up and their size so that you see an outline of the background of the box on here. Okay, so they're not going to match up perfectly. They're supposed to be, they're about 1/4 inch all the way around. So you want to make sure you're adhering whatever. Now I am using close to my heart cardstock for the cardstock piece of this, and I recommend that you use a cardstock for your base of your box. It'll give it more stability as opposed to just using a pattern paper. And then the pattern paper that I'm using is actually from Echo Park, and it was designed by Lori Whitlock. I don't know if you guys realize that. She is the designer of the All Occasion box card cartridge, and she is a designer in the industry, and she works with Echo Park and has created some beautiful paper lines with them. And let me see, this one is Happy Days, I think. It's one of her older ones, but the bride and groom's colors is this teal color, and so this paper was perfect for what I needed. All right, now the back piece we're not going to adhere, so you don't add that on now. We just want to do the flaps, and then I'm going to flip these up, and I need to add the base pieces that go on the box. Now this is going to create the bottom of the box, and what I've done here, you will have a piece that is cut out this rectangle that gets adhered here. Now what I've done is I went ahead and added my decorative piece. This is not part of the file. I decided to add a few extra embellishments to this to kind of fancy it up, and I'll tell you as I'm going along what I've done. This is a border, a heart border in Design Space, and I cut it out of red glitter paper and adhered it along the bottom edge of my my squares that go on the front decorative box. So don't look for these in the file. It's not there. You'd have to add that if you want to add that to your wedding card. All right, so I'm just going to add some tape runner to the back of this and adhere it. And there again, you're leaving about 1/4 inch around, maybe even 1/8 inch around the edge of each of the squares here. So they line up, so you want to make sure you've got it lined up correctly. That looks good, and I'll get the last one on. Okay, so now that we have the pieces together for the box, and we'll start seeing this come together now. These are the flaps that we just added, so that's the piece that's going to fold down, and you'll see this. Okay, and then these are the side panels. Okay, so I've got all the side panels on. Now the only other thing that we need to do right now is we need to adhere this to our box. So you want to open this back up. Here is the flap. Okay, this is where you're going to adhere it. Now you can use your tape runner here. I prefer to use some score tape just so that I know that it is adhered well to my box. This is a double-sided sticky tape. If you've taken any of my Cricut Design Space classes and project classes and seen me put projects together, you know I love this stuff, and I highly recommend it because it is super, super strong. And I know that once I do this, since people will be folding and opening this card, I want to make sure that it does not fall apart. And sometimes when you use a tape runner, it doesn't always stick as well as you would like when people are tugging on it. Okay, so I've added some score tape on the piece here, and I'm just going to fold this over the back piece. This is the long back piece, and go ahead and line this up. And the best way I've figured out how to do this is just kind of do it from the back side here. Okay, and just kind of line it up. And you want to make sure I'm just kind of folding it to make sure I've got that lined up correctly. Okay, so now I have my box is taking shape. Okay, all right, and then we can insert our piece that goes here. Now the reason why you didn't want to add this before is because we wanted a nice smooth edge, and that we didn't want that tab across the back of our box. We wanted it inside the box, and then the liner piece covers that up. Okay, so it gives you a more finished professional look. And I cannot tell you guys how excited I was to see these cards from Lori Whitlock. I love her files. I have many of them. I have bought SVG files from her, and I was very excited that Cricut is now working with Lori Whitlock, and hopefully we'll see more from her. Okay, so all I did was add some adhesive and line it up. There again, I'm making sure I leave that little outline edge from the backing so that it kind of creates a nice finished look. So here is the actual box. Okay, so we've got the decorative pieces on the front, we've got the decorative pieces on the flat, and then we have the liners, and then we have the inside. Okay, now what in the world do you do with this piece? All right, so when you cut this out, Cricut prompted you to have your score tool, and it scored a line here, it scored 2 lines here, it scored 2 lines here. All right, so what we're going to do is you're going to fold. This one goes to the back. Okay, so that one goes to the back. This one folds over to here and then here, and what you end up with is you have a piece here. Okay, can you guys see that? So you have one piece that folds this way. This will be the same way you're going to fold all of these, guys. Okay, so you have one that folds to the back, then this fold's going to fold front, and then there's another little fold here, so then it creates a little tab. So there's a little tab, and here's a little tab. And then you have the front. Okay, we're going to create another tab. So there's another fold line and another fold line, and so what you end up with is a shape that looks like this. You guys see it here in my hand? So there's a tab, a tab, and a tab, basically. That's what you've created, and it's like a little zigzag here. All of these are going to fold exactly that same way. So here, 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 across, down, and out. Okay, so they will all fold exactly the same way. So once you have these folded, what's going to happen is you will add some adhesive on where you have these little tab parts, okay, and across this front piece. Okay, then it's going to be inserted inside of your box, and you will add this piece, the front long piece here will be adhered to the inside of towards the front of the box. Then then the side over here will stick to this side of the box, and that little tab in the back will stick along the back, and then that creates the dimension for your card. Okay, so now the first time you do this, you want to make sure that everything fits and that it all lines up. So I just kind of inserted it in my box so I have an idea of what it's going to look like. Okay, so I wanted to show you, see how it fits inside the box? Okay, so the little tabs here, it goes across, there's a tab here, it comes across, and there's the tab here, and then across the front. All right, so this is how the box gets assembled. I wanted to show you guys that so that you weren't confused. And then you have the dimension of the staggered pieces for each of the cards. All right, for the box cards. All right, so we will go ahead and add the adhesive to this. Now, what I generally like to do when I make these is I go ahead and I add my decorative pieces to it before I put it in my box. But for this one, we're going to go ahead and add it beforehand just so that you guys can see how to do that. Until you get used to this, I don't want you, not having it set correctly. And it's not a problem to add the decorative pieces afterwards, so. All right, so I'm adding adhesive on that tab, on the little tab for the back, okay? I'm adding adhesive here, and I'm going to add some adhesive on this one. Okay, and then I'm going to add adhesive on the front, this front panel. Okay, so now my box, I'm going to add this in, and this is the only tricky part. You want to make sure, now what I do is I like to fold that back panel in when I go to insert this, and then bring the panel up to the front and line it up so that it's even with the front of the box. That way I know that everything is lining up. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I want to push that down and make sure that the top of that little indentation there is lined up correctly, and then I'll push that back piece in. Okay, and then you want to, use your fingers and make sure that you've got it really stuck on your box. The back piece should be lined up flush with the back of this tall back panel. This back piece should line up flush with that. The front panel should line up flush with the front of the box. Okay, now once you have this together, here's where the magic comes in. When you fold the flaps up, the panel, it should close up. Okay, so here we have our, and you're going to fold it up, and this creates the A2 size card that's going to fit in our envelope. All right, now let's get the decorations, because that's the fun part. Okay, so in the file you have the groom's jacket. Okay, and I used black cardstock, and then I actually used some glitter papers because this is a wedding, so I wanted it to be more dressy looking. And then I'm going to glue this on to the front of my back piece here, my decorative piece. You could also use foam dots if you wanted. I'm going to go ahead and just add some adhesive to it. Okay, and here we go. So I've got that there, and I need to add some more adhesive to the next piece. And of course it only happens while I'm on camera. I ran out of adhesive in my tape runner, so had to get another one out. That's why I always have spares. Okay, so I have assembled this. These were cut pieces that I glued onto his jacket. Then we have the wedding dress. Okay, now I am coordinating the colors for the wedding that we're going to, that this card will be given to the bride and groom. I cut it out of glitter paper, so I don't know if you guys can see that. So it's shiny and pretty. And then I added some little pearl embellishments and a rhinestone that was the color of the wedding, and a little rhinestone here just to decorate this a little bit more. That's totally up to you, but that's why mine looks like this, because I'm making it a little more dressy. And then I'm going to glue it on here where the bride's dress goes. Okay. Whoa. Okay. Make sure I get the tabs of that dress good with my tape runner. Alright, so I'm just going to add it. Let me hold it this way so you guys can see. So I'm going to add it on here. Kind of like paper dolls. You just kind of line them up. Okay, so I have that piece. And then, of course, you have the ring that's going to go here. And I cut this out of a gold foil paper cardstock that I had. And then it does not have a separate piece. There's like a little tab that sticks up that represents the top of the ring. Well, hello, we need some bling bling. You know, if you work with me, you have bling. So I added a really pretty round rhinestone to the top of this so that it looks like the diamond. Okay, so that's going to get glued here. All right, and I'm just going to use my tape runner. Make it quick. Use my fingers to get the extra adhesive out from around the where it's cut out in the circle part. Okay, so now I'm going to add this to the front of my shape. Now for each of the box cards, of course, you'll have different elements that you're adding. So think about how you can take those elements and kick them up a notch. Use some pattern paper. Use some specialty paper like glitter paper and foil paper and so forth. And then there's a little red heart that goes here on the front. There again, I cut this out of red glitter paper as I did his bow tie. Okay, see how cute that looks so far? I just love this. Okay, now the other part of the file that comes is a little love that's supposed to go here, okay, on the front of your card. And what I did was I cut this out of white glitter paper and silver glitter paper, and then I added the little rhinestones so it matches my color scheme for the wedding, and I added that to the front of the dress so we have all the colors coordinated. And then I put foam tape, so I adhered these two layers. There's a back layer and a front layer, and that's part of the file. All right, then I added foam dots to the back of mine to adhere it to the front of the card, just there again to give it a little more oomph. So think about this when you're working. I am actually have a class that I will offer in the first part of February that is all about making your die cuts more pretty, basically. So look for that class, because I think you'll get a lot out of that class and how I use different techniques with specialty papers and adding embellishments and inking and stamping and all kinds of things you do. Now, because this is a wedding card, I wanted to add some additional words. So that's where these are not part of the box card file. Okay, I'm just giving y'all some ideas. I cut out the word congrats and the word Mr. and Mrs. These are words already put together in Design Space, and I'm just going to glue them onto my tabs here. Okay. And I'm just going to use my Zig 2-way glue pen because I love these, and I'm just dabbing. It's a liquid glue. If you haven't used these, it's a liquid glue. It goes on blue, and then as it starts to dry, it turns clear. And it's great for these little pieces. So I'm going to put congrats on this side. Okay, and I'm going to add Mr. and Mrs. over here. So think about this. Any of these box cards, you could add whatever extra embellishments on these flaps that you want. You could add little borders like I did around the base of the card. I mean, sky's kind of the limit. Think outside the box, so to speak. Okay, so I'm going to add Mr. and Mrs. here on this one. Let me just get that stuck down well. All right, and then when I cut out the heart border around for the base of this, it had, I never throw any of these away. It had the inserts for the hearts, right? So I kept those. I put them through my Xyron X. So I have a bunch of adhesive. They already have adhesive on them because they're kind of little. So I figured this was easier to do this. And now I have all these little hearts. So I'm going to add a few more hearts to these front panels. There again, this is not part of the file. This is just something extra that I'm doing to make it look a little more fancy for the wedding. It Makes it really easy. Okay, so now we have our box card is complete. Okay. Show you guys all sides of it. All right, now you fold this up and then it's going to go in an A2 size envelope. So let's put the envelope together. Okay, this is the envelope. Lori has an envelope designed for us with each of the box cards, and they're really easy. There again, you're going to use your score tool in Design Space when you cut out the envelope, and it'll score the lines for you. Makes it super easy. So go ahead and fold those edges over. Okay, and then on the panel that looks like it's slightly kind of angled in on the envelope is where you're going to add your adhesive. Okay, so you add your adhesive, and guess what? Now you have an envelope. It went together very easily. Each of the box cards has its own envelope, so they, you know, you'll have one already as part of your file for any of the box cards that you put together. So once we have this put together, I just wanted to show you. So we have our finished card, and what you want to do is you want to fold this over to the right, raising the flaps. Okay, so you end up where this is a perfect A2 size. It fits perfectly as an A2 size, okay? And it is now going to go into your envelope that we just made. So it'll take just a second. Now I added some extra, foam tape and some bling on here. So I'm just gently making sure that I get this put into my envelope because it's a little puffy. And then it completely folds flat. Okay. And I can add some adhesive to the back of this to stick it, or I can add some adhesive on the inside or washi tape on the outside and address my envelope, and then my card is ready to be given to the bride and groom. Now these are a little bit thicker and heavier than a normal card, so make sure that you weigh your card and put the appropriate postage if you're going to put this in the mail. Now, because I have additional embellishments on my card, this is also kind of thick, so I would probably have to pay extra to mail this card, just so you know. I'll probably have to pay 72 cents or whatever it is now. I think the rates went up in January. So take that into consideration. But we're going to be attending the wedding, and so I will actually take this to give to the bride and groom along with their gift. Okay, now I had a couple of other quick tips for you. All right, on Lori's file, she gives you the panel pieces for the one long panel piece for the back and these top layers for these three pieces. What I did was I just ungrouped the file and did a duplicate of that one set, so that then I could also do the underside of the flaps and the back panel. Okay, so it just finishes the card up a little bit more, in my opinion, so that when it's folded out to be put into the envelope, they see the pretty pattern there as well. Okay, so I did that by just creating an extra set of the the layers for the flaps in the inside, and then I adhered those. All right, now when I give a card, I like to sign my name and do a sentiment, right? How do you do that with these? Now what I've done is that I just created in Design Space, I lined it up, I added a rectangle and cut it out in white cardstock, since I'm using white as part of this, and then I would be able to stamp an image on. I could stamp a sentiment on here. I could just handwrite a note to the bride and groom and sign my name, and then adhere this to the back of the card, so that then we have a finished card with a sentiment, and they know who gave them this card, and then I'll probably add a few more of my little hearts on the top and the bottom of this just to finish it off and complete the look. So that is the Lori Whitlock All Occasion Box Card Assembly Instructions. Really simple. I really want you guys to try this. Please post your photos of your completed cards in the Let's Learn Cricut Explore Facebook group. If you're not a member there, please come join us, where we have a lot of fun learning, sharing, and playing with our Cricut Explore and Design Space. What I wanted to tell you was that right now Cricut has the All Occasion cartridges on sale for $19.99, and you get 30 box cards, right, and the envelopes. Could not get any cheaper than that. That's less than $1 a file, guys. A lot less than $1 a file. Anyway, so, but I'm going to give you a special code that you can use, a promo code, to get an extra 10% off and free shipping if you purchase the physical cartridge. So you want to use Happy Crafting, all one word, all lowercase, and that will give you 10% off plus free shipping of the physical cartridge in the United States. And you also have the option to buy this as a digital cartridge as opposed to a physical cartridge. If you buy the digital cartridge, you don't need the free shipping, but you want to get that 10% off. So use my link in the description of this video or on the post where you see this video. That helps support me continue to make educational videos for you guys using Design Space files, and I really appreciate that support. And I will have, like I mentioned earlier, I have 3 new classes coming out, and I have Diva Days in January. The end of January is Diva Days. So be sure and come over to my blog at scrapmequickdesigns.com and learn more about my upcoming classes and Diva Days, where you get to design like a Design Space diva and have a lot of fun creating projects with your Cricut Explore machine. Anyway, I hope you guys had a lot of fun. I loved how this card turned out. I think the bride and groom will be so happy to get this, and I cannot wait to make more of these cards. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.